What is going on, good people? Welcome into the Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live and local show dedicated to giving you all local sports all the time. I'm Sports Director Trayvon Miles.
And I'm Brandon Bossert. Do not go outside if you do not have to. Sit there on your couch because we've got football for the next half hour.
Yeah, Brandon, we are officially out of teams to cover in Maryland, so we are full on to your home state in Delaware.
Yeah, that's right. It's all 302 all the time. We had a lot of winners tonight. So let's start with the one team that no one can beat this year, and of course, that's the unbeaten Woodbridge Blue Raiders.
Yeah, that's right. There are only two undefeated teams left in the state of Delaware. One of them is the Blue Raiders. Woodbridge won their first ever District 3 title with a 10-0 record, garnering them the number 2 seed in Class 2A. The undefeated record is cool, but make no mistake about it, Woodbridge wants another state championship this year.
Absolutely.
They began their quest for the 2021
postseason
goal. Tonight, hosting Tower Hill. First meeting between these schools since 2013, and the Bridge defense coming out to play. Noah Matthews with the sack. That would lead a little later to this. Kenny Newton Jr. punching in a 1-yard touchdown. Woodbridge goes for 2. They get it, so they're out to an 8-0 lead. Next Tower Hill drive, the Blue Raiders defense stepping up again. Seatric Stone's going to get the interception. They call him Butter. He's going to get a nice return up the sideline. And just like that, Woodbridge's offense takes it over once again.
Yeah, and that was quite the lame duck pass right there. A few plays later at the 4-yard line, Seth Smart throws one to Lexton Westcott. Westcott and the defensive back come down with the ball. Refs come together. They rule that a touchdown. 2-point conversion would be good. Blue Raiders up 16-0 after a quick 3-and-out for the Hillers. Woodbridge strikes one more time before the half. It's Wyatt Wright walking into the end zone for the third half of the score. And the Blue Raiders run away with their first postseason game. They win 31-0 over Tower Hill. Not too surprising, right, Trey?
No, what I really love, Brandon, about this Woodbridge team is their maturation, right? This was a team led by Jed Bell, was led to massive success by that guy. He steps down, and the kids have to get acclimated to a new stranger, in a sense, in Marvin Dooley. He's had some kinks earlier on in this year, but they appear to be worked out, and in my mind, there is no reason why we shouldn't see Woodbridge playing for a state title a few weeks from now at the University of Delaware.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Woodbridge, they don't seem to have that same explosive offense this year that we've seen in recent seasons, but you know what they do have is an incredibly stout defense. We've seen that all year long. No one has scored more than 14 on this team since week 2, and Tower Hill learned that tonight. And with a defense like this, the key is simply just don't make too many mistakes. And you know what? With Marvin Dooley, he's a championship head coach. When you have someone like that at the helm, it's easy to coach your guys up and help them with not making mistakes, especially with a veteran group like this who have been in so many big games. Even though they can't score at will, they do have some big talent to create highlight reel plays out there, including that freshman wideout we saw, Lexton Westcott. That kid is only going to get better. He's that type of wideout that can make a difference in these last 2 weeks. Look for him coming up in the semifinals. All right, now let's move on to the top team in Class 1A. That's your Laurel Bulldogs, and tonight the wind swept in the Ducks of Odessa. I don't think the wind had anything to do with this, though. The punter just whiffs.
Oh my goodness.
Here comes Kyler Weaver to pick it up and leave it to Weaver to take it to the house. Laurel already up 14. Javier White was a menace on both sides of the ball tonight. White with the interception takes it all the way. But hold on just a second. There's some laundry on the field, and this one is coming back.
So sick of seeing flags. It's all good. Give the ball back to White and watch him fly. Laurel still hungry after the holiday and feasting on Odessa. More ducks being carved up this evening. They could not get this young man down to the ground. He's finally brought down inside the 20. That led to another Bulldog score. Here comes Weaver again, coming in off the edge. No one picks him up on the blitz. Laurel ahead 21-0, and they keep adding on. White gets the pitch, and he goes from there. Laurel blows past Odessa in the quarterfinals. They are off to the semis, where they will either face Indian River or St. Andrews next week.
Yeah, Trey, there's not much to really say here. Laurel dominated on all sides of the ball. I don't think anybody is really surprised to see that they are the 1 seed this year and that they are in the state semifinals. Am I right?
Absolutely.
We can't be surprised. We've been talking about this all year long, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what? Odessa is a very young team. The one thing that is concerning are those penalties. We saw 3 touchdowns called back in the first half alone tonight. But you know what? As long as they clean that up and get their minds focused, they should be able to move on to the championship
Yeah, and
round,
Laurel will have to clean those things up as they move along in this tournament and begin to face stronger competition. But the fact of the matter is, like you said, when Laurel was placed in 1A, we immediately said this is a team with a chance to win it all. Laurel football has not won a state title since 1991. We know they've always had a strong, proud fan base. Something special could be brewing if they stay focused week by week and take this tournament week by week in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We'll see what happens next week, who they face between St. Andrews and Indian River, because IR obviously gave them a game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and our final game of the night features the top seed in the 3A class, the Smyrna Eagles. Smyrna also has their eyes on a state title game. They first had to take care of business in the quarterfinals tonight against William Penn. Smyrna going deep. Quarterback Cam Edge connecting with Andre Ashley. This will put him in prime territory. Wayne Knight going to take it in from there. Takes a hard hit, but he still gets in. 2-point conversion, also good. Eagles up 8-0. Next drive for Smyrna. Edge going deep. He's got a ton of weapons this time. Hey, who's it this time? Yamir Knight in the end zone for 6, wide open. Smyrna converts another 2-point conversion, up 16-0. Huge night for Edge. DeMatha transfer dropping dimes everywhere. There's Devin DeMoe wide open again. Smyrna up big, 24-0. And to put the game away, give it to Knight. Number 25 wants to score. He's going to get it. He takes it over 50 yards to the house. The Eagles easily, and I can say easily, take this one over William Penn by a final score of 46-6. Now, Brandon, Smyrna began the year with some great competition, including a top 10 team nationally. So they started out 1-2. Well, since that, they've run off 8 straight victories. Appears they're playing very good football at the moment, but it is really hard to tell against a very average William Penn team.
I think average is giving them a little too much credit. Another game where we didn't really learn much about this team, but William Penn 0-6 against teams still in the playoffs coming into this week. That tells you all you need to know about William Penn this year.
Yeah.
No matter who wins between Dover and St. George's, Smyrna is going to be the heavy favorite next week in the semis. The game that is very interesting tonight, though, to me, was that Middletown-Appo game. Middletown held Appo to just 4 first downs all night and easily won, but the Cavs were held scoreless at halftime. I know a lot of Smyrna fans were looking at that game thinking we're heading for a Harvest Bowl 2.0, a game the Eagles lost in September, but I think this time around, the state is hoping for a rematch between these two schools. But you know what, Trey? I have to mention one more thing. You go from Nolan Henderson to Aiden Sanchez to a guy like Cameron Edge. It's just not fair.
Yeah, look, the embarrassment of riches. And when we saw that Smyrna was getting a quarterback from DeMatha, you never hear something like that. That's just ridiculous. So kudos to Coach Mike Judy and his staff and what they're able to do with those players.
Absolutely. Well, we will talk more about these games coming up, but a few games to get to tomorrow. Starting in the 3A, we've got Dover at St. George's. Dover won that game earlier this season, and then Sussex Central is playing at Salesianum tomorrow night.
Yeah, and more 1A and 2A quarterfinal games tomorrow. Indian River traveling to Appo, where they will take on St. Andrews. And up in Northwest Wilmington tomorrow, Seaford will travel to take on Tatnall. Now, Delmarva will also be in Wilmington tomorrow afternoon as they take on Wilmington Friends. So very interesting Saturday ahead, and we will get to that in a second. But to wrap everything up, Brandon, what are some of the things that we saw tonight? I know we didn't learn too much, but hoping that there are some better games later down the line.
Trey, we have to see better games in the semifinals next week, right? We got 3 blowouts tonight. Hopefully we're weeding out the week. We should start seeing some good matchups because, honestly, this is a great argument for fewer teams in the tournament at all levels. I saw a tweet tonight from Marty at DE Sports Debate. So far in the Delaware playoffs, 407-25 has been the score between the winners and the losers. 8 shutouts, 4 tonight. And no losing team has scored more than 7 points so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we talked about it last week. You know, they wanted to create these classes to make things more interesting and to stop blowouts. I do think we got that accomplished in the regular season. However, we get to the postseason, and the first 2 weeks of the postseason look like what last year and beyond's regular seasons look like. So very interesting. You know, we're still learning about how these classes will work. But like you said, next week should be very interesting. Really looking forward to some better games and some more quality competition out there. All right, that'll do it for the A block. We're taking a quick commercial break, but when we return, we're talking more football. Who has the edge as state championships near? We'll discuss that and more when the Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
My name is Mike Judy, head coach at Smyrna High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.